Jonathan, and I've been studying gender inequality for the last 5 to 6 months, so this is my presentation. So, what is gender inequality? Gender inequality refers to unequal treatment or perceptions of individuals based on their gender. It arises from differences in social context, gender roles, as well as biological through chromosomes, brain structure, and hormonal differences. So this is a quote from Kofi Annan. He said, "Gender equality is more than a goal. It is in itself, it is a precaution of meeting the challenges of reducing poverty, promoting sustainable development, and building good government." So basically saying it's not just for women, it's just for everybody. It's for government, it helps with everything. So this is my thesis, you can please read it. Most of you are finished. So, next up. So my subtopics are going to be about sexism, jobs, and pregnancy. Wait, no, go back before it starts. No, I'm sorry. Sorry. I want to be sure that you guys are all mature and not going to just be highly immature, right? You will be? Okay. So the video it's fun, but it's kind of inappropriate. So you can have fun, but actually listen to it because it's really serious and it does have some really good facts. Now you can.
Pretty. What the? I'm not the pretty, helpless who's in sex and distress. I'm pretty powerful and ready for sex act. So what is more offensive? A little girl saying, or the unequal and sexist way society treats girls and women. Our future. So listen up, grown-ups. Here's some words more than the word. Hey, inequality. Women are paid 22% less than men for the exact same work. And women who graduate university with straight A's get paid as much as men who only got C's. So bad grades equal more fame. Just because you're a boy? Hello and hell no. I shouldn't need a penis to get paid. Free violence. Fact. 1 out of every 5 women will be sexually assaulted or raped by a man. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Which one of us will it be? So how many more women have to get knocked down before society stands up and stops it? Here's a hot tip. Stop telling girls how to dress and start teaching boys not to rape. Where's why? Women's right to vote is here. But equality is messed up. It's walking to the car without fear. Be pretty. So here's the trick. Pretty, it's a compliment. But here's how this focus works to girls' detriment. Society teaching girls that our bodies, boobs, and butts are more important than our brains leads us to thinking our worth comes from our waistline. My aspirations in life should not be worrying about the shape of my ass. Focusing on how I look and give me a...
So, next slide. Oh, God. Okay, so here's a Twitter quote from somebody that it's funny, but truth, yes. Alright, so next slide. Let's get a little bit more serious now. There's a comment that's basically summarizing how sexism can begin. So you have a boy and a boy doing a math problem, and the guy will turn to him and say, "Wow, you suck at math." But a lot of the time, when it's a guy and a girl, they'll turn to the girl and say, "Wow, girls suck at math," and they'll generalize all women instead of just one. Alright, so in sexism, I'm going to talk about 3 things. I'm going to talk about the effects of sexism, stereotypes, and how women are portrayed in films. Okay, so effects of sexism. So the actions of a sexist man. So the actions of one sexist man can affect how female bystanders feel and behave towards men in general. So if one man is sexist to a woman, she'll think of all men as sexism, or like that they're all sexist. So everyday expressions of misogyny could be seriously impacting on our mental health as well. These women are more affected emotionally. Our biology is like, it makes us more emotional from like our hormones. So if a man does that, it'll make us feel negative towards all men. Next. Alright, so stereotypes. Here's a picture of Barbie. We all know who Barbie is. She says, more babies, girls, the more you make, the prettier you'll be. It's stereotyping how women have to have babies to be beautiful. The main stereotypes to women are about babies, being beautiful, and having to stay home. At very young ages, girls start to be pushed towards beauty and babies. When we're young girls, we get what? We get pink things, we get dolls, and we get Barbies. So what does that say towards us in the future? That's what they're pushing on us when we're like 3. So and then with like this, it's like it becomes like stereotypes that all women want is a Prince Charming, babies, and they want to stay at home and clean all day. But some women, they have dreams, they have goals, they actually want to do stuff with their life. They don't want to just have babies. They want other things. Okay, next slide. And so how women are portrayed in films. I'm not 100% sure if you can read this, so I'll just read it to you. 30.8% of speaking characters are women in films. I'm sorry, these are from the top 500 films from 2007 to 2012. And this is how they are based. So 30.8% are women. And these are like, even if it's a woman character, it's not always a female voice. 28.8% of women wore sexually revealing clothes compared to men who only are 7% of these. 26.2% of women actors get naked in these films compared to 9.4% of men. 10.7% of films feature women where they're half naked. And the ratio for these films is, if you have 2 and 1/4 of a man, it equals to 1 woman, basically, in these. And 32.5% of these films are teenage women who are naked. And roughly 1/3 of female-speaking characters are shown as sexually revealing attire or partially naked. And based on this, it's showing that women they're just like over-sexualized in movies, which lead to many other things like rape, and so this is affecting how men say like rape is okay because they're over-sexualized. Okay, next. Okay, so jobs. Most of you might know Rosa DeRiver. For women, she's kind of like an idol from like older times. She's like the woman who basically shows you that women are the same as men. They can do anything. So in jobs, I'm going to talk about 4 things. I'm going to talk about the pay gap, benefits to equal pay rate, and benefits to equality in the workplace, and education. Next. So if you can see here that this is a map of the United States. There's 4 different colored blues. The light blue, this one here, it has a 70 cents to every man's $1. And states that have this there's Wyoming, Utah, and Louisiana. Ones that are like this kind of like sky blue everywhere, it's 70 cents to 77 cents to every man's $1. And examples of the states are Oklahoma, Montana, and North Dakota. This kind of like royal blue you see here, it's 77 cents to 80 cents. And examples are Texas, Kansas, and Ohio. And then you have the darker blue one here, which is the most developed states, which has 80 cents to and higher to a man's $1. So these are the ones that are the most advanced in the United States. Next. Okay, so benefits to equal pay rates. Well, obviously you have the same pay as a man, so you have the same amount, which leads you to have the same chances and more chances than if you get paid less. So, and you have chances for overtime. So if you both have like family and everything, but one of you needs more money for if you want to get a house, you can work overtime rather than a man having to work overtime, so you have more chances in it. And then with self-confidence, well, you'll just have more confidence based on knowing that back in like 1950s or something, you had no chances compared to men, but now you actually do. So it'll make you feel more self-confident in the workplace and in your environment. And then next slide, please. So I know this is more on a slide than it should be, but I'll be quick about it, I promise. So the benefits to equality in the workplace. So with opportunity, when equality is in the workplace, it's presented all individuals to have the same chances to go after opportunities and develop their own skills. For the contribution, employees might be able to contribute to the company in different ways with overtime and capitalize on everyone's talents and abilities. With lawsuit protections, what's kind of obvious what that is. If you have a man and a woman with the same, they're equal, a woman's not in a certain circumstance won't try to sue to try and have equality here. And with your reputation, it'll just make you look really good if you're one of the only companies that has equality for both men and women, so it'll just make you look really good. With time, you'll be able to separate how your workers are going, like through their, like how much time they work. And with the unique culture, really all it is you have more women and men equally. Next. So with education, some issues with not having an education lead you like you lose chances of having better jobs or like a job that you actually want. But if you have an education, you can go for your dreams or whatever. But if you're in a poverty country, if you're our age and you don't get an education, it's really likely that you'll end up married and having children. But if you end up, if you're in a poverty country and you do get an education, and when you do, you're actually stopping poverty, or you're helping stop the cycle of poverty. And with the chances, it's 10 million girls are out of school more than guys globally. And the testing that we do and that everyone in the world takes are actually biased towards guys. So they're made so that men or boys can pass them easier than women. Alright, so next I'm going to talk to you about pregnancy. I'm going to talk to you about paid parental leave from the US versus the rest of the world. I'm going to talk about abuse and rape and being fired for pregnancy. So this is a graph from US versus the world. You can see here, US has 0. They don't give you any days off and they don't give you any paid leave. But the countries that maybe you're from, they do. Like Canada has 119 days plus 55% pay rate. Germany has 98 days plus 100% pay rate. Italy has 140 days plus 80% pay rate. Russia has 140 days plus 100% pay rate. South Korea has 90 days plus 100% pay rate. So why is it that the most developed country doesn't have it? But countries that you wouldn't think that are that developed do, like Saudi Arabia, Mexico, Indonesia, India, they all have it. So, next slide please. So being fired for pregnancy. Here's another little comic where it's a man firing a woman for being pregnant. And basically he says, I'm afraid we're going to have to let both of you go because of the baby. So thousands of women, or thousands of pregnant women are pushed out of their job that they're perfectly capable of performing, either put on unpaid leave or they're just simply fired. Which means if you take it for an example, if this woman was 6 months pregnant and she's single, then how is she going to pay for the labor? Because in America, it's $3,500 per night in a typical American hospital. So, and they usually have to stay there for 3 to 4 days. So that's kind of a lot of money, especially if you don't have a job. Next slide, please. So, abuse and rape. So, at least 1 in 3 women around the world has been beaten, pressed into sex, or otherwise abused in their lifetime. About 85,000 women are raped on average in England and Wales every single year. And if you have 100 rapists in a room, out of all 100, only 3 will ever even see maybe 1 day in jail or prison. And if you want to know more about abuse or anything, You can watch Fiona's presentation next Thursday.
Shout out.
Next. Right, so if you want to help with anything, it's like foundation. These are 3 foundations that help with gender inequality. They raise money and stuff like that. You have the UN for Women, you have the Rockefeller Foundation, and you might actually know this one because it's connected to Emma Watson. So, hello. So it's the He for She Foundation, the UN Women's Solitary Movement for Gender Equality. Okay, thanks. So here's another little comment that's just kind of fun.